Okay, are we back now? Okay, welcome back again. And this is the third part of education. What I like to do is also start off with some of the quotes, again, with the Paulo Freire. Education either function as an instrument which is used to facilitate integration of the younger generation into the logic of the present system and bring about conformity, or it becomes the practice of freedom, the means by which men and women deal critically and creatively with reality and discover how to participate in the transformation of their world. Participate in the transformation of the world. What we're dealing with, ladies and gentlemen, is the transformation of reality, a perception. And that's what we have to really work on. We have to say, competition, no. Cooperation, yes. Look at it from a different perspective. Now we have one last quote from Jonathan Kozol. And Karen, Jonathan Kozol, is he another big-time educator?
Yeah.
He is another big-time educator, a philosopher. And, quote, instead of seeing these children for the blessings that they are, we are measuring them only by the standard of whether they will be future deficits or assets for our nation's competitive needs. We have to get away from that. I mean, we had children at one time in our history so that they could help on the farms, that they could pick up the burden of working. That was not the correct way of education either. Yes, it was needed at one time perhaps, but now we need children, we need students to learn that we're all in this together. And we're either going to make it or we're not going to make it. And it's going to be dependent on the perception that we have of what making it means and what failure means. Making it, in my mind, is doing it together, all together, not leaving one person behind, not leaving one child behind.
We've got a couple of questions coming from our viewers.
Go ahead.
Okay. Shushik suggests that families should take care of the kids' education as well.
I agree. I think it has to be a partnership. I think...
but the Family Institute is also in crisis, so what do you suggest?
Yeah, well, if you get one member of the family involved with the wisdom in nature's goodness, perhaps that one can influence the spouse who may not be as involved in learning that there is a balance in nature, that we can either be forced to compel our direction or learn to do it voluntarily. Once we learn to do it voluntarily, we will know that we have to work together. If we don't work together, we're going to have the tsunamis, we're going to have the earthquake, we're going to have the prodding by a force that's higher than us to push us forcefully, and disturbance after disturbance after disturbance. We can avoid that by doing it voluntarily, one spouse with another spouse, and passing it on to the children and to let the teachers know it's okay. It's okay to show them reward. It's okay to show them something less than reward, but to encourage them to cooperate and to be on the same page with the teachers. Parents have to learn the same thing that teachers learn. And we as parents are still students. We are learning day after day. I'm learning just by being here, by being asked some of these questions and having to take a risk, and maybe sometimes fall flat on my face. But sometimes reach so deep inside of me, I get scared because something comes out that I can't believe I even said that. I said that? Holy shit, man. That was really cool. I can't believe I said that. Was that me? It happens. That's creativity. That's taking a risk. And we gotta have kids do that. Have them say it's okay to fail.
Can you talk a little bit about how you see teaching and learning working? For example, if I don't like my teacher, then I'm probably unwilling to listen to anything he or her has to say. And maybe the same in a parent-child situation. It's
a good question. And as a parent myself, I had to deal with that. My son's 19 years old now. I'm thankful we got him through high school. He went 6 weeks in college, and it wasn't for him. He dropped out. What do you do when you don't like the teacher as a student? What do you do when you don't like your boss? What do you do when you don't like whatever situation you might be in? One of the things I found that rather than curse it and blame the source, the God, the creator, the divine above us, maybe ask to alter, change. Maybe look at things in a way that you haven't want to look at before. Maybe ask the force, the source, the divine, to change you, to change me, so that we, the student, can maybe look at some of the finer qualities of that teacher, that boss, and maybe not overlook some of their deficits, some of their bad things, but know that they're just like me and you, with frailties. And let's focus on the good things. Stay away from the negative. Who the hell wants to be negative anyway? I mean, Christ, you can always find fault in people. I remember as a journalist, all we did was deal with the negative. I mean, you look at a newspaper, there's hardly any good news. You have to force good news to get it to appear on the front page. It's all negative. And you know something? People read it. People want to read about the tsunamis, the earthquakes, the serial killer. We relish that news. We'd like to, I don't know, I get pissed off sometimes.
Speaking of positivity, here's a joke provided again by Shushek.
Okay.
A wise school teacher sends this note to all parents on the first day of school. If you promise not to believe everything your child says happens at school, I'll promise not to believe everything they say happens at home.
Ooh, Lord have mercy. I like that one. Now, speaking of things about teachers, and there was a teacher who went to court and was given a ticket for driving through a red light. When she appeared in traffic court, she asked the judge for his immediate attention because her case had to have his view. She had to get back to class. The judge looked at her very sternly and said, "So, you're a school teacher. I'm about to realize a lifelong ambition. You sit down at that table over there and write, 'I went through a stop sign 500 times.'" Okay, all right, I never had that done. However, I know that some kids were told to go to the blackboard and write Bart Simpson. For some reason that vision comes to my mind. I will not do whatever I was told 500 times. You're a teacher if you believe the staff room should have a Valium salt lick. You're a teacher if you find humor is other people's stupidity. You're a teacher if you want to slap the next person who says, "Must be nice to have all your holidays and summers free." This is what I call the gallows humor. I think a teacher who teaches can share this with other teachers and understand that sometimes this is maybe how they feel. You're a teacher if you can tell it's a full moon without ever having to look outside. You're a teacher if you believe the shallow gene pool should have its own box on the report card. You're a teacher if you believe that unspeakable evil will befall you if anyone says, "Boy, the kids are sure mellow today." You're a teacher when, out in public, you feel the urge to talk to strange children and correct their behavior. You're a teacher if you're making all A's on the report card, and that would make your life so much simpler. You're a teacher when you mention vegetables and you're not talking about a food group. You're a teacher when you think people should be required to get a government permit before being allowed to reproduce.
Michael, doesn't this gallows humor that you're talking about, the fact that maybe a teacher can have a laugh at this, goes to show that, not tying to our first section, that not only do students not like school, But a lot of teachers are aggravated and unhappy with their job, so that the system is not working both for the students and for the teachers.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
And why do you think it's able to continue this way? And what alternatives do you suggest?
I don't know all the alternatives. All I do know is that we got to get away from the competition side and more to the cooperation side. I think the person who is the fortunate person is the one who loves to go to work, loves their job, and maybe even would want to do it without pay. Now that is saying something about the type of job that a person would do. And I'm sure there's some teachers that are like that. I know there's some policemen, there's some lawyers, some doctors. There are people in different fields that really enjoy working. They enjoy the environment. Are they the rare ones? Perhaps. But wouldn't it be nice if you and me can say, man, I love what I'm doing, my job. I would do it for nothing. I have so much joy in this. The teacher, they have to battle the same system. Maybe they want to try something in a group. Maybe they want to not move ahead until that last child moves along with them all. They have the higher-ups that they have to answer to. There's politics. There's so many different things involved that we may not even be aware of. And so we have to be patient for and with the teachers, just as we are for and with the students. We have to change the system from the inside and the outside. The teachers and the students both, I would think. Question? If not, let me just see. We have here, the biggest problem is that we do not provide the child with an opportunity to develop on his own. He's not required to invent or imagine anything new. He has nothing to give. They would rather not bring them to the world. Oh, I'm sorry, I just jumped into something where I stepped into it. I needed the guiding hand of a good teacher to say, Mike, you screwed up. Get off that page and get into another one. And hence, I will do that. And what are some of the alternatives? We can give them real-life examples. We can invent games for them. Now, Karen, I know that you and a lot of the people here in Philadelphia have come up with a game of real life to learn that there is going to be some difficulties, there are going to be disturbances, there are going to be some suffering. And once you get into, I don't know, what do you want to call that, the point in the heart, you start to see that there are three things that all you have to achieve in order to deal with the suffering a little bit better. And if I'm not mistaken, I think those three things would be a really good teacher. Is that correct? And then the books, the types of writings, the type of teachings that can inspire and bring you closer to the third object. And that third object is none other than the good old group. You know, I've been studying a little Buddhism, and I found out there's a term that they use in Buddhism that is so close to the wisdom in nature's goodness. And that is something they call the three jewels. The Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. What the hell are you talking about? Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. The Buddha is the teacher. The Dharma is the books, the teachings. The Sangha is the group. So you can see the wisdom in nature's goodness, not only in the path that I'm studying, that Karen is studying, but many other paths have been following for thousands of years. It's in the best interest of nature. We have to learn to work in and with nature, just as we have to teach along the lines in and with nature. Otherwise, suffering is going to continue. We're not going to get away from the causes of suffering.
Here's one last interesting point maybe to close the topic with, where Basar Mutar, one of our viewers, says, I think we can learn more from our kids. At least they ask direct questions.
You know, there's something to be said about the child. Not that we will ever be children again, but we never want to lose the childlike essence that still is inside each and every one of us. And it is that child that calls out for that type of teaching, that type of attention. And it is the childlike members of a group, the childlike teachings, the childlike following of a teacher who knows, that can benefit all of us. With that, we're going to close. I have to remind you that I am going to a special veterans retreat, which is going to be silent. They're going to deal with something which I have, which is post-traumatic stress, and I won't be able to be here next Wednesday, but I hope that you'll be able to return in about 2 weeks from now, when we'll have another topic, and we'll try to share and cooperate and learn that love, love, love. All we need is love, love. Let me see if we can get Karen singing. Love is all we need. Love, love. Come on, Karen. Karen with the K. And she's